Okay guys, what we're going to do is we're going to test each one of these panels individually for both voltage and for amperage. So let's do voltage first and see what these guys are putting out. Got it? Got the number in there? Okay guys, this one's putting out 19.9 volts, so his voltage is right on the money. Next panel. Okay guys, this one's 19.49, also testing good. Okay, last panel. Okay, we've got 19.6 volts here, which is also pretty good and within the specs of the panels. Let's go ahead now and hook up our amp meter and see what it says. Okay, so let's see how many amps we're putting out. This one right here, panel number 1, is 4.52 amps. All right, let's do this next panel. All right, he's fully in the sun, as you can see. Okay. Okay, we've got 4.7 amps out of him. All right, and we've got 4.4 amps out of this last one. So all of these are testing basically good and all the same. Now let's plug these into the charge controller and see what happens individually. Okay, so this line right here runs directly down into our connections on our charge controller. So we're going to plug in each panel individually and then take a look and see if our voltage, current, and watts change. So right now we're at 188 watts with 13.5 amps, 14.4 volts. Plugging in panel number 1. And let's give it a second here. Tell it to read it again, just in case. Okay, so we've got this first panel plugged in, which we showed was testing at 4.7 amps, almost 5 amps, which is right where it should be. We've plugged it in, and now our voltage has only gone up 0.5 volts, and our amperage has actually dropped, which I think is just a matter of us moving around in the anchorage and these panels being shaded differently. So this panel is adding 0 power, which we've confirmed previously multiple times, and that's why we're taking them down. So let's do the next panel. Okay, we've plugged this panel in. We have actually a drop in amps. Well, no change really. So we've show you that. So remember, we started right around this point. We've got really no change. I mean, this is all within the margin of error of shading for the boat. So we've got 12 to 13 amps, 180 watts maybe of charge power, and 14.9 volts. So this panel also, when you connect it, as you can see, it's fully in the sun, but when you connect it to the charge controller, it adds absolutely 0 power. Now, let's connect this last one. Okay guys, I'm gonna move this last one over the top of this one, just so that the cord reaches. Okay, wire number 1, wire number 2. Okay, and let's see what happens here. Okay, we went up. With this panel now, we went up about 2 amps and 0.5 volts, and we went up from 180 watts roughly to 230 watts. So about 50 watts we went up. And that was just by plugging this one in. So you can see this one is partially working, but the rest of them, it's a no-go. Okay, so if anyone can explain what's going on with this, why our panels would test okay, and then when we connect them to the charge controller, they fail under load. We can't figure it out unless maybe there's some type of internal corrosion inside of the panel itself, which isn't allowing the power to flow properly. Okay, here's our new panel, and we're gonna go ahead and put this in the exact same spot that we just tested the other panels on the same day, at the same time, and see if this brings in amps. That will confirm that it's not our wiring and that it is the flexible panels over there themselves. So first, all right guys, let's get a shot of our charge controller here. This is going to give us our base point. Right now we're at 10 amps, 166 watts. Let's plug this panel in and see what happens. This is a 155 watt panel. Okay, check this out guys. So we just plugged this in. Can you read that?
I think so.
Okay, I'm not sure if you guys can, but we've just plugged this in and now we have 16.31 amps at 248 watts. So this panel is absolutely working properly, and this confirms that our wiring is just fine. Everything flows all the way through with a good panel, but with the bad panels, nothing's happening. So once again, I'm 100% convinced that we have 3 bad Renogy 100 watt panels.